Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pattison podcast with me, Mike Missinelli. Normally, my partner in crime is Anthony Sanfilippo. He is in Clearwater. He'll join the show subsequently. But in the meantime, we got an ace filling in, the man, the legend. He works now for On Pattison, covering the Sixers and doing various other podcasts. The great Bob Cooney joins us today. Hello, Bobby. Good afternoon.
Michael, how are you, buddy?
Hanging in there, Bob. We got a lot to talk about. Free agent season. A lot of people call this the best time of the year in sports because you got the collision of all these leagues. You got the tournaments coming up. You've got the baseball, the World Baseball Classic, plus spring training, and you've got the football hot stove talk and free agency going on. So the Eagles, while everybody was, I'm shocked at the crazy money that's been thrown around for mediocre players in his free agent season. I mean, Romeo Doubs gets about $20 million to go to New England Patriots as a receiver. Malik Willis, a backup quarterback, got like $22 million to go to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Are you shocked by all the money that's being thrown out there?
Well, it's just like when you're talking X's and O's, Mike, right? It's a copycat league. Oh, you're paying this? Well, then I guess I have to pay that, and I have to pay this, and I have to pay that. And the players sit back and just laugh like, yeah, go ahead, everybody. Keep going. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, the money is absolutely ridiculous. And here we are in Philadelphia where there's none going out, Mike. No money's really going out.
And, Bob, they say this is Howie's season. So far, it's Howie half a season, I guess, because the Eagles really were kind of quiet early on, and they wound up signing Reek Woolen to be their starting cornerback. I don't know how I feel about this. We'll get into this in a second. They also signed a blocking tight end, Johnny Munt. They got him from Jacksonville. And then bringing back Grant Calcaterra on a one-year deal. Those three guys get one-year deals. The team wound up losing four starters. If you want to call John Dotson a starter, they lost him, but they lost Reed Blankenship, the Kobe Dean, and the big one, Jalen Phillips of Carolina, who got $30 million a year, Bob. $30 million.
Unbelievable. I thought the most the Eagles would pay him was between 23, maybe get up to 25. He gets 30 a year from Carolina. If you're Howie, and it might have already been pre-planned, you have to say goodbye to that.
That's a walk-away number. What's your walk-away number? If your walk-away number was like 23 million, you had to walk away for 30. I mean, that's just absurd. Listen, the guy's an okay player. He doesn't look to me like a super star to be paid $30 million.
No way. And I was shocked at that. And as I said, once that came about, you saw other players in the league just sitting back saying, bring me mine. And it's going to come. Howie, you said it's usually Howie season. This is Howie off season, it seems like. They just restructured, I think earlier today, Landon Dickerson's contract to save some cap money. So there's some things it looks like maybe in the works. You need a tight end. Dallas Goedert pushed back the time he can get signed, so I guess they're going to bring him back.
It's tomorrow, so they have till tomorrow to sign Dallas Goedert.
So there's got to be some stuff done. You just don't know when, or are they just going to rely totally on the draft, Mike?
I don't know. It's a very good question. But the money they didn't spend for Jalen Phillips, the first thing I thought about, I don't know if you thought about the same thing. Well, now they have this excess money to sign Jalen Carter to an extension now instead of waiting next year.
I don't mind that a little bit. I would love that. Get him, Jordan Davis, get Carter, get those guys all signed up and ready to go. Let them have the competition of who's better, every year to try to be the better player and let it go from there and build your defensive line around those two guys. I don't mind it at all. But, my God, you have to address this edge rushing. It's so lacking right now. They're going to have to do something there.
Really, they're going to have to bring a guy in, maybe trade. Now, the one guy who's now suddenly out there again is Max Crosby, who professed today. He's a Raider now. All behind him. He's now a Raider. Could you possibly now get Max Crosby? Since the Raiders, it's funny what the Raiders did. They thought they had this trade, and therefore they start signing a bunch of guys. They wouldn't have to pay Crosby anymore, and they signed a lot of guys. Yep. So now they're up against it a little bit. Can you now get him at a lesser price?
Yeah, the funny thing is, one of the things I heard from an expert, and I wish I could attribute, but I don't remember who it was you can't say somebody failed a physical. It's a physical that is given to a team that's done by a doctor, and the team has to look at it and say whether they like it or not. It's not like a pass or fail. And everybody knows where he is with this meniscus. So does that lower his price is the question that it comes to. Or was it just a case of Baltimore not liking it and Oakland is still looking for it? I can't see him going back to Oakland and staying there after everything that's going on. So I still think you could get him. I don't know if it'll cost you 2 firsts like Baltimore was offering up in the first place. So I would take a look. If I'm Howie, sure. 2 seconds, a first and maybe a second. I would think about it.
A first and a second sounds plausible to me.
It does? Yeah. Why not?
Offer a first and a second. Now, let's look at the situation a little closer because a lot of people think the Baltimore Ravens are playing fast and loose in this particular situation, and I do believe they were as well. Listen, the guy had a meniscus surgery. You knew that going in when you traded for him. So a meniscus surgery is not usually that big of a deal. He probably would have been full strength. I just think they got cold feet. I think they got scared, didn't want to go to the altar. And we're told by so many people to give up 2 first-round picks is crazy. You got to rebuild your team. Maybe the new coach had said that. I don't know. But something happened to the point where they got cold feet and called it off. And I don't think it was because of a failed physical.
I agree. And I think somebody did get in their ear and say 2 firsts is a lot. And you used the key word. They're rebuilding. So now you go out and you get a Hendrickson, and you're not giving up picks. You're giving up, money, which is a big thing also, but you go the free agent route and you get the free agent as opposed to having to go trade and give up picks. So maybe they did have in the back of their mind, maybe like Mark DeRosa, they misread the room or whatever you want to say. I don't know, but
maybe it was this because you know how these agents are sneaky. Trey Hendrickson's agents called the Ravens and go, hey, listen, you got till Wednesday to finalize this deal. My guy is interested in coming to you. It's not going to cost you draft picks. It's just going to cost you some money.
Sure. Yeah.
Could that have been the linchpin?
Absolutely. You and I have dealt with agents a lot in our lifetime, and you know how it goes. They're looking to get what's best for them and fool the team into telling them it's best for the team when it's really best for their client. You know what the weird thing is? Baltimore may have gotten played a little bit with Crosby, but in the end, I think they wound up doing what's best for them in getting Hendrickson at the free agent market as opposed to getting Crosby in the trade market.
Yeah. Hey, my guys are suddenly available to you guys. You don't want Crosby, do you? Here, my guy's ready to come to you. Boom.
Yeah.
And that's the way it happens. Yeah. Now, Eric DaCosta, the general manager, is denying all of that stuff.
No, really?
Which he probably should, right? But in any case, Max Crosby out there now. And would you take a shot? We'd love to hear on the chat board, the studio chat. A lot of people usually tune into this podcast. We'd love to hear what you had to say about that. Would you go after Crosby now and offer a 1 and a 2 and see where the chips fall there?
That's kind of a no-brainer, right, Mike? I mean, you have so many. The Eagles are loaded with draft picks.
They have 9 next. They have 9 in this year's draft.
Yeah, and you can make it a 2 next year. You could do, something down the road. You know how Howie works. It's not always obvious of what you're giving and getting and all of that. So I would absolutely be calling, figuring out how you could work it out. Where's the money? Like I said, he's storing away some money with what he's done recently. So there's got to be moves coming.
All right. Is it enough what they got? When you look at who they acquired, they acquired Reek Woolen, who's lost. There's an upside to this guy, right? I understand it. He's 6'4", he's like 210, big corner, ran real well. They got 4.2 something at the combine. Was an all-pro at one point, but lost his job last year. And I always wonder, why do these guys, why would a valuable cornerback with these kind of attributes who's still young, why would he be available? Does that thought cross your mind here? Did the Eagles get a winner or not?
Well, I think it's somebody that you have to return maybe to being a winner. He lost his job to Josh Jobe, who was a guy that played for the Eagles, who they gave up on. But the other thing is he's led the league over the last few years in taunting penalties. Like there's something there that's a little screwy. Like, dude, play the game with your physical abilities and get your head in the game, and you might be able to come back and be to the form that you were your rookie year. I think that's the way the Eagles and Vic Fangio may be looking at it. Like, good, give me the tools. I'll fix the head, and this guy might be able to be a real contributor to an already pretty good defensive secondary.
In other words, they got a C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Could be, and look how well he did here. I mean, they turned that around a little bit.
Yeah, then he wore out his welcome. So 1 year,
Yeah,
he'll put up with
it's a
1 year
short
of
time
this
frame,
guy to
Mike.
see if it works out. But yeah, you're right. Now it helps that he's surrounded by good players. Like he joins a room that has Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell and guys of that ilk. They did lose the safety though, and I'm curious to know what you thought about them losing Blankenship for a relatively low price. He got $8 million on the open market. Was that a bad move for the Eagles or a decent move? Who starts there now?
I think for the fans that say, "Oh, what happened here?" move, but I think for people, if you really dive in, he's a very I don't say this in a minute, but he's a very mediocre safety, if we're being honest. And I looked at some of his defensive rankings, and they're quite low in coverage. He is good at stopping the run a little bit, coming up into holes and doing that. I think he ranked like in the middle of the pack. But as far as defending the pass, he was towards the end of the pack and near last. So can you improve on that position? I think absolutely on just those numbers alone. Are you dealing with a dynamic that you're messing around with because he and DeJean got along so well, and it was a room that everybody liked each other, according to all these reports? Maybe, but I'll take the talent any day over the camaraderie when you're getting out on a football field for 60 minutes.
All right, you did mention that they need help to fortify defensive end position. Right now, the ends they have are Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith, and Brandon Graham, who announced he's coming back for another year. Am I missing anybody?
What's that say to you? That's kind of that's an MEH meh. God bless Brandon Graham. Position. What's that?
They've got to fortify that position.
You have to, and I don't maybe even more than fortify. Like you need a player there. You need somebody that can come in and be the guy. I don't know if Nolan Smith can take a step up. Or if you can stay on the field. Jalix Hunt, you don't really know all that much about. Brandon Graham is good at what he does, but that's not game-changing really anymore. So they got to get something there, Mike. And I think an above-average player, maybe even a difference maker.
Yeah, they lost Alogiari and they lost Uche as well. So, it's very thin right now for your Philadelphia Eagles. And again, we go back to tight end. They signed Grant Calcaterra, the passing tight end catcher. Then they signed Johnny Munt, the blocker. They can't just go with that, can they? They need to bring Dallas Goedert back.
Either Goedert or another starter throughout the league, maybe that they think. But I would assume this is all set up for Goedert to come back. They pushed back his signing day till tomorrow, like you said. So you have to figure that they were saying, well, we just got to work some numbers out. We'll get you back here what you want, and everything will be fine. You have to get that blocking tight end. Calcaterra, unless he's backing up Goedert, okay, but you can't have him in there as a starter unless you do have another blocking tight end in there. And Munt appears to be that guy that they want to get.
Unless you want to use 3 tight ends like the Rams do. And, he's from that school where you can put 13 personnel out there.
Yeah, I don't mind that. And Calcaterra can catch the ball a little bit. If you have Munt in there to stay in maybe and block and protect Hurts, and you're sending both of your tight ends out there, okay, or 2 other of your tight ends out there, okay. But I kind of want Goedert back. There's a familiarity with Hurts that I think you might want to stick with.
We got a couple of texts on the text line here, and Larry Frisetto says, "Can we trust that Goedert won't get hurt again?" Well, no, you can't trust anything when it comes to injuries.
No, so, injuries are the biggest unknown about sports, but one of the most biggest commonalities in sports. Injuries happen, and for teams, organizations, coaches to get upset about them, it's part of the game, and it stinks. But it's as big a part of the game as any X's and O's that you want to put out there, and it just happens.
By the way, some news broke just a little while ago, courtesy of an interview that John Clark did with Vic Fangio. I don't know if you saw this or not, but Jahad Campbell has an injured shoulder that, according to Vic Fangio, is going to keep him out for most of the offseason. Now, that was like a throwaway line from Vic in an interview. And I wonder if the Eagles are not happy about that.
Well, you can't be. Yeah, Campbell had another injury before. Was it his knee?
He had a shoulder injury. It
was the shoulder. So that might be a case of a guy where you can only set him up for 2 or 3 months to get ready for the season, get him through the season, and then he's shut down again, for a long time just to ramp him back up for the regular season. So I don't think, I would hope that they're not caught with their pants down like, oh, my God, we got rid of Nakobe Dean and here he is injured. I think it's more of a case of you're not going to see a lot of Jihad Campbell in the early off season because he's just going to have to ramp up quickly to get ready to be available for the full regular season.
All right. Before I segue to baseball, I want to ask you a question. Are the Eagles as good right now as they were last year?
No, I don't think there's any way.
They got a starting cornerback now who's probably better than the guy they had there last year.
Yeah, I wasn't an Adoree Jackson fan, that's for sure. Although he played better as the year went on. But that's still an unknown. You don't have another starting safety. I guess Marcus Epps might be the guy that steps in there. You lost 3 defensive starters. You mentioned how thin they are, Mike, on that defensive edge. It's just that's amazing right there. You have a disgruntled wide receiver. You lost your 3rd wide receiver. I don't know how you can say they're better.
I was waiting for you to bring up A.J. Brown, and you did. It's the argument and the topic, the issue that goes on and on and on and on forever. We've talked about this before. It looks like the Eagles would be willing to trade him if they got the right price. Will they wait till after June 1st when that cap hit is a lot lower, or they are still engaged? Now, the Patriots signed a mediocre guy, Romeo Dobbs, very mediocre player. They claim that that does not mean that they're not in the A.J. Brown sweepstakes anymore. But can they afford to pay 2 wide receivers that kind of cash?
Yeah, I don't know. I would highly doubt it. But if anybody's going to pull it off, a Kraft might be able to pull it off. The Patriots being who they are, everybody knows or everybody seems to know that's where A.J. Brown wants to go. Yeah, can you fix this? The first question in my mind isn't where he's going to go. It's can the Eagles fix it? Because you talk about, are they a better team now or a worse team? You lose A.J. Brown, sorry, you're a much worse team. And even if he's not catching balls or running half-assed routes, he's still commanding attention when he goes out into the secondary for a pass. You lose that, Devontae Smith isn't as effective as he always is because now he's demanding more attention. You don't have Dallas Goedert yet. Like this, I would try to have a coming to God, bring AJ in with teammates, coaches, everybody, owners, and try to rework this out. But if you're past that point,
well, that's what I'm going to ask you. Are they past that point now? Let's take the player's mindset. Now, this is a guy who has not been committed to by his organization. Hasn't come out and said we're definitely not trading AJ. He's a very important part of this team. They have not said that. No. If you're a guy like AJ, that's like chum right in front of you. Like you grab that and you find a way to get disgruntled with the way the organization is treating you. We already know he's got the red ass, for lack of a better term. And so does he bring the red ass to the field? And does that help or hurt?
I mean, I don't know. We haven't seen that. Well, we've seen the fight in him and that he gets pissed off and all those things and says stuff. But the fight of him on the field is something that's been lacking over this past season, at least. You know, you get pissed off as an athlete. You know how it is. You want to go after your opposition as hard as you can. He seems to go after his teammates harder than he goes after the opposition at times. So do I want to play with a guy like that? Not really. Not really. If I'm out there busting my stones and getting my ass handed to me a lot and taking the lumps and everything and trying to help the team get better, and I look at you and you're not, that's just me individually. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I hear you. Now Ford on our chat board brings up something else. He says they got rid of the OC. Not enough for AJ. Well, they're trying to change things and maybe accommodate him a little more. Maybe he looks at it that way.
So is it ever going to be enough for AJ Brown? Is he the type of guy that no matter where he goes, it's not enough? If he does go to New England, is he for some reason going to find something wrong with Drake May? Is the offense not catered to him enough? Is this, is that, is it the other? Is he ever going to be happy? I don't know. The Eagles would know that a lot better than any of us.
Sounds like you're on the side of maybe moving him out of here. Am I getting your drift?
Unless something changes, unless I'm reading the room wrong, and unless he's like behind the scenes telling them, no, look, I'll be okay this year. Yeah, I just don't know how teammates can play with a guy like that. I really don't. I would love for him to be here for his abilities, but is it past the point of no return? I don't know.
Wow. All right, let's take our first break. On the other side, we'll connect with Anthony Sanfilippo down in Clearwater, Florida. The On Pattison podcast is brought to you by the good folks at the law firm of Wapner Newman. Winners win, and Wapner Newman has been winning for families throughout Philadelphia and New Jersey since 1978. If you need a winner, just call Wapner Newman at 215-569-0900 or visit them online at wapnernewman.com. That's WAPNERNEWMAN.com. We'll get some Phillies chat on the other side right here on the On Pattison podcast. Back after this.
The Peruzzi Automotive Group on Business Route 1 in Fairless Hills is looking for auto techs, all skill levels. Here's a chance to work for a locally owned family business that offers many benefits. For more information, call the service director, John Damarotis, at 215-943-6200. That's 215-943-6200, or visit any Peruzzi service department.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Every champion needs a good game plan. BCWSA and I want to make sure you have a game plan when it comes to conserving our most precious resource, water. Whether you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or watering your garden, there are ways you can save water and save money. Visit bcwsa.net for tips on conserving water. BCWSA, proven. This is time.
Are you living with relentless pain? St. Mary has a new way to help. Knee and hip replacements with a smarter process for faster recovery, earning prestigious awards for quality and value. A rapid recovery program has you walking just hours after surgery, and breakthrough advances such as custom-fit joints position you for a longer pain-free life. 215-710-5888. St. Mary Orthopedics. It's your health. Expect more. Are you living with
Penn Community Bank, we're your financial partner for all of life's moments. Our checking accounts are designed with you in mind, providing convenient access and 5-star mobile and online banking services to help you achieve your goals. Right now, you can earn a $350 cash bonus for opening a qualifying new checking account with direct deposits in the first 60 days. Visit PennCommunityBank.com/cash bonus to learn more. Penn Community Bank, here we grow. Offer terms and conditions apply. Limited time offers subject to change. As for full details, member FDIC. At Penn.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Come join us for happy hour weekdays from 4 to 6. Enjoy half price orders of Chicky's wings, delicious pizzas, scrumptious hot, cold, or fried shrimp, jumbo soft pretzel with a trio of tasty dips, plus $3 domestic bottles, $6 Tito's, and $6 seltzers. Come join our happy hour weekdays 4 to 6. Come taste and enjoy. Only at Chicky's and Pete's.
Back on the On Pattison podcast with me, Mike Missinelli. Bob Cooney is in today, sitting in for Anthony Sanfilippo, who we will hear momentarily live from Clearwater, Florida. All right, Bob, the big Phillies news. Jesus Luzardo gets a 5-year, $135 million extension, AAV of $27 million per year. Was it the right move for the Phillies?
I think it was a great move for the Phillies. My first question after a great move for the Phillies was, why did he do it now? If he would have had a good year this year like he did last year, he could have commanded maybe $200 million. But, you know, you're a pitcher, you're relying on health, all of that stuff. Understandable. That's a great number. I mean, think about it, Mike. You got Christopher Sanchez, and now you have Luzardo all set up for you for the next 5 years. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch, both of them being left-handers. I covered the Phillies for the last half of the season last year. Really, really was impressed with this guy, Luzardo. I think he is a star in the making right now.
Oh, very interesting. Now,
yeah, I really do. And I don't get
he has not stacked a year onto a year.
He hasn't. No, and there's been injuries, and there's been some head problems a little bit where he gets a little too overheated about things, and it affects his pitching. Saw him overcome that last year, identified it, talked about it. I got to keep my head in the game. I can't be arguing balls and strikes and then giving up 3 and 4 extra base hits and over the next couple of innings. I think he's growing that way. I love his stuff. I love his strength. I think it's a great move by the Phillies.
All right, speaking of the devil, here he is. He's live from Clearwater where it's nice and sunny. It couldn't beat yesterday's weather here. It got a little colder now, but he's in warmer climes. Of course, is with the great Anthony Sanfilippo joining us live from Clearwater. Hello, Ant.
Well, it's not as sunny as you think today, Mike. It was beautiful down here yesterday. There's some weather getting ready to roll in here at the ballpark. I'm not sure we're going to get this whole game in, so we'll see. All right, you got the game is going on right now for the record. So, Ant, in your short time down there, what are your impressions? The first thing I always say this, Mike, and before you even get into the team, it's unbelievable how well Philadelphia travels. I mean, these games mean absolutely nothing, and this ballpark is packed to the gills with people in the middle of a week, right, on a not great day in Florida. And this place, it's amazing. You go to any other minor league stadium for spring training, you get some crowds, but nothing like you get here. It's amazing. So that's the first impression. It's always the impression when you come down here. Phillies fans are tremendous in how they travel.
What is going on behind the scenes? What's the story with Zach Wheeler? I know he's been thrown off the mound, looking pretty good. How have they ramped him up to how many pitches?
I think he said 36 was his last one. It's trending pretty well. I think that there's a real chance. They haven't announced this yet, but I think that there's a real chance that Zach Wheeler will actually pitch in a Grapefruit League game before the end of spring training.
Nice.
I think he's trending more toward the April side of his return than the May side of his return.
Anthony, we saw last night Aaron Nola pitch for Italy and just looked really, really good. What was the talk among teammates down there maybe this morning before the game?
Yeah, it was funny because, during the game yesterday, Dan Plesac, former Philly Dan Plesac, was the color analyst on FS1. And he said, oh, yeah, well, the people in South Philly, they refer to him as Captain Hook. So I figured I'd ask some guys in the locker room today, and they were like, that's all we were talking about. Like, we've never heard him called that. Like, what the heck was that all about? Like, they had no idea where this came from, right? Ryan Kirk
made it up. Plesac made it up.
Yeah, he made it up. So Ryan Kirkering thinks that they're going to put it on a T-shirt and they'll make fun of it a little bit. But
Captain Hook,
but listen,
nice.
Yeah, but Nola's been really good so far this spring. He's only pitched in one game that technically counts for spring training. The other two was an exhibition tune-up with Team Canada in preparation for the World Baseball Classic, and then, of course, last night for Mexico. He's thrown 10 innings so far, given up 1 earned run, and he's got 11 strikeouts and 1 walk. I mean, you can't ask for more, especially, and I talked to Garrett Stubbs about this today. He said his velocity was up to multiple pitches over 94 miles an hour last night against Mexico. He says, listen, I know you're going to be a little bit more amped up for that game than maybe you would for a Grapefruit League game. He said, but pitchers who normally throw what Nola throws, which is 92, 93, aren't usually throwing 94 and a half in spring training. So, he thinks that once that velocity is up, everything else really plays. And the curveball, he's got such great command of it all the time.
Yeah.
Struck out a couple of guys like Randy Rosarena last night. And that was the other thing Stubbs said. Stubbs said, listen, I know he's going to throw a curveball at 3-2. Randy Rosarena knows he's throwing a curveball. Everybody knows he's throwing that pitch. And then he strikes him out with it anyway twice. That's pretty impressive that he's still got that command of it to put it just off the plate. And where a guy
interesting. He called his own game last night. He had the little box on his hip, and he was making the calls. I thought that was really unusual, depending on the circumstance of who the hitter was. But he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he was spectacular last night.
Yeah, it's something. Obviously they let JT call everything here with the Phillies, but when you think about it in that case, he's one of those really prepared guys. You talk to anybody in the organization, and Nola preps as hard, if not harder, than anybody else in the sport as far as studying the opposition, knowing how he wants to approach them. And he's told me in the past, when you go up against teams that have seen him repeatedly, like the Mets or the Braves, it's you got to try and mix it up a little bit because they know what you throw, you know how they are. It's you got to try and get creative. So it's like a chess match for him. And so he studies all that. And it doesn't surprise me that, working with a catcher that he's never worked with before, that he's going to call his own game.
Anthony, Mike and I were talking about Luzardo and his contract a little bit earlier. I know he was scheduled to start today. I guess you got to see a little bit of him. What did you see there?
It wasn't that great of a start for him, to be honest. But you never know what pitchers are doing. They're winning this game. It's 8-3, but it's only the 4th inning, right? And Luzardo didn't get through the 4th inning. They had him limited to 60. They wanted him to stop at 65. He actually threw 67 pitches. He gave up a home. Again, 5 hits, 3 runs, but 3 of the hits were extra bases, a double, a triple, and a home run. Now, the triple, I thought Justin Crawford took a weird route to it. He probably could have caught it if he took a better route. So maybe there's a little bit of bad luck in there. But again, spring training, his velocity was where it needs to be. He was maybe just a little bit off on a couple pitches. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Luzardo is going to be a big part of this rotation going forward.
And they're playing a lot of guys that we may not be familiar with because of the lack of people that are there for the World Baseball Classic. But are the regulars still getting their at-bats, the Stotts, the Bohms, the JTs? Are they still getting in there?
Yeah, Stott's been great this spring training. He came into this game hitting 500 for the spring, which is incredible. Alec Bohm hit a home run today, solo home run to left center, which was a nice thing. Trey Turner had been struggling a little bit, but he had 2 doubles today earlier in the game. His first 2 at-bats hit doubles, and then even his third at-bat was a fly out the center, but it was a sinking line drive. Center fielder made a nice sliding catch, otherwise it would have been a third hit. So Trey looks like he's got his swing going today. The guy who's been struggling so far, when I say struggling, not only is he not hitting, but he's just not, the swings don't look good, is Adolis Garcia. Now, again, spring training, it's early. You don't want to jump to any conclusion, on March 12th. But
that's no bueno.
Yeah, the swings just don't look good to me with Adolis Garcia. So we'll see. We will see.
You mentioned Garrett Stubbs earlier, and this is, way down the line type of questioning, but, they threw out there that, we're throwing him in the outfield, infield, all that stuff. He got brought back up last year, and I was in the clubhouse the day he got brought back up, and the place was going nuts. They love him to death. Are they seriously thinking of keeping him around and I don't know, maybe sharing time as backup with Marchand or throwing him somewhere else?
I think that they want him to play multiple positions in case it gets to a point where they need him to do that. I like to think that Dylan Moore, who they added from the Seattle Mariners, probably has the inside track to that 26th spot on the roster. He was the Gold Glove, American League Gold Glover utility guy in 24. He can play 7 positions. Can't hit a little bit at all. Like, he's not a very good hitter, but he can play all 3 outfield positions and all 4 infield positions. So he's playing third base today, and made a nice play earlier. So, I think that he's probably got the inside track, but you don't really have another guy in this system who could potentially jump up into that role if something were to happen to Dylan Moore. Let's say he gets hurt or whatever. So to really say to Garrett Stubbs, hey, why don't you start seeing if you can do some versatility? If we need it later in the year, he can potentially call you up. But I think he's going to end up back down with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
Anthony, Team USA is advancing the single elimination. It was very hairy there for a while due to a colossal mistake by the manager, Mark DeRosa. I was wondering if you had a chance to talk to any of the players down there about that faux pas where he actually thought he was in but really was not in, and then they wound up losing to Italy.
No, not yet, but I do have it on the agenda to talk to them after the game today. And Mike, I look at it and say, as soon as that became public, he had to be let go. Like, how he keeps his job as the manager of that team is it's beyond me. He almost cost,
let him go.
He almost cost Team USA a spot in the knockout round on the World Baseball Classic after Major League Baseball had put so much into this, right? They've convinced the big name pitchers like Skubal and Skeens and Logan Webb to take part. They lined it up so that U.S. wouldn't have to play. If they would win their bracket, they wouldn't have to play a tough team really until the final. Like, it was all lined up for them. And then they went and blew it. And you know what? I mean, they're fortunate that the Paisans did them a favor. The espresso drinkers, which, by the way, is the best thing ever, man.
It really is.
Vinny Pasquantino,
it's fantastic.
Drinking the espresso.
I like the dugout. They're doing this.
The Tommy Cutlets, right?
I like the jacket and everything too. Like, they are so primo. Good. Yeah,
it's so good. But yeah, no, they're fortunate to be in now. I mean, look, Canada's not a pushover. That's not going to be an easy game. I think they'll win it, and then you got to play the Dominican in the second round. And I think that's where it gets. I don't think they reach the final at this point.
Do you have any idea who the starting pitchers would be from this point on?
I don't know. I'm assuming Logan Webb will pitch against Canada. I don't know who would go after that, because that would have been where Skubal would have been. But he went back to the Tigers. Maybe they move Skeens up for that, but then who's throwing? If you go to the championship game, who's throwing? I don't know.
I was getting upset that they had Nola out there for 69 pitches last night. Can you imagine how Pittsburgh would feel if they moved Skeens up a day? to get him a day out there. I'm a little shaky on that if I'm the Pirates.
Yeah, I don't think that it's a good spot. They're kind of a miserable team too. Like they're not likable. We joked about this. Wasn't it last week, Mike? We talked about Aaron Judge's big speech to the
20 seconds long.
20 seconds long.
20 seconds.
There's nothing likable about them right now. It's just the other teams are far more likable. They just really are. There's great stories with all these countries and not the Americans.
Is it possible? Scooble said he might go back. Did he not say that?
He could. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think a lot will depend on what happens against Canada. So
I'm on the if I'm DeRosa, I'm on the horn right away. Like, come on, Scoops, you got to help me out here. I'm majorly messed up. Right. I need some help.
So, here's the thing that's mind-boggling to me about that whole thing. Bob, you and I will talk about this in a little bit when Anthony's gone. Is Mark DeRosa the only one that apparently has to know whether they're clinched or not? Like, how many people surround Team USA? The general manager, assistant general manager, there's like 14 coaches. How is he the only one that knew that? Nobody can tell him?
It's a good point, Mike. Like, really, the whole operation just seems like they're not as invested. It just seems weird to me that you're right, not just him. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe he makes the mistake and says it on MLB Network, but like, doesn't somebody say after that, like, hey, you're not in?
Exactly. He did that in the morning. By the time he arrives at the ballpark, then they tell him again he's not in. Like, what happened to all those hours during the day?
Where are all the analytical people? They should know these things off the top of their heads.
Where are they?
Exactly. By the way, best story of all in the World Baseball Classic. As much as we like the Italians and the stuff in Canada is a fun story. There's some of those guys.
Ireland too. Let's not forget the Irish guys.
Did you see the guy from Czechia who was an electrician?
I love it. Pitched like what, 5 innings?
Shutout. 5 and 2 and retired.
Good for him.
He's never pitched. Yeah. And they gave him a standing ovation in Tokyo.
You know what they said he was? Electric.
Yeah. There you go, Mike.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Anything else we're missing down there? Did you text me something? There was some story that involved you. Did you get into some kind of a situation?
I ended up. I'm on my 3rd hotel.
Oh no!
2 days.
What happened?
Yeah. We had a snafu with the original one, and then in an emergency, the company got me into another hotel. And when I went and checked into the room, there were bullet holes in the wall. But it was so late at night the other night. I said, you know what? I can't do anything.
You stayed in the bullet room?
I'm too tired. Shoot me anyway.
Did you pull the slug out of the wall?
I stayed in the bullet room for one night. And then I checked. I went into the check. Literally at 8 o'clock in the morning, went and said, I'm out. I'm not going back.
Oh, so your digs aren't at those high-priced hotels on Pattison? Didn't hook you up?
Well, like I said, it was an emergency because of what had happened. There was a snafu at the original hotel, and it was an emergency situation to get me into that hotel for the one night. And then I'm at a nicer hotel.
All right, very nice.
That is
so now you can stretch your feet out, relax.
Yeah.
All right. We worry about you, Ant.
Sounds good, Anthony.
Thanks,
we won't keep any longer. Get back to the game. It's snowing here, by the way.
Yeah, it's
looking out my window. Really? Snow's coming down.
Yeah.
78 yesterday, 80 degrees yesterday, snow today.
Yeah. Glad I'm missing that, although it's about to rain here, so it ain't going to be any better. So.
All right, Ant. We'll talk to you.
All right, boys.
All right,
good to see you.
Have a good one.
Anthony Sanfilippo checking in live from Clearwater, Florida. We'll take a break. Time's running out. The game's on the line. Who do you want taking the last shot? Well, you want Wapner Newman, PA, New Jersey's premier medical malpractice and injury attorneys since 1978. Call 215-569-0900 or visit wapnernewman.com. On the other side, we'll talk about that Team USA situation and also go down the list of Phillies pitchers. Bob, give me an estimate. The Phillies pitchers now with Luzardo in the fold, how much are they paying 5 starting pitchers? Give me an estimate.
Oh, you have the number right with you, huh?
I have the number right in front of me.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go close to 500 million.
Close to 500 million, really?
What do we got?
That's way over.
Well, we got 135 for Luzardo. Oh, yeah, okay.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking per year.
Per year.
AAV. Each one of them is AAV. What's it come out to be what they're paying each year?
22?
It's about 120.
Oh, I'm sorry. So 22 times 5, I was right about there.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going by year. So if you do all of them times,
you got Wheeler at 42. You got Nola 24.5. You got Luzardo at 27. You got Sanchez at a bargain of 5.6. You got to throw Taiwan Walker, who'll be on the rotation early on, at 18. And Andrew Painter makes a paltry $3.9 million.
Oh, all right.
Bargains. They got bargains with Sanchez and Painter, that's for sure. All right, we're back after this on the On Pattison podcast.
Flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City. A flawless
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
Back on the On Pattison podcast with me, Mike Missinelli, Bob Cooney joining me today. Just to reiterate the Eagles situation, they signed a couple of free agents. The big one being Tyreek Woolen to a $12 million 1-year contract to be their cornerback too. They signed a blocking tight end named Johnny Munt from Jacksonville, and they brought back Grant Calcaterra. That's about it right now. Other news: Jahad Campbell looks like he has an injured right shoulder. That or whatever, right or left, I can't remember, didn't specify, but injured shoulder that may keep him out for the offseason. And the Eagles did get compensatory picks for losing their 4 free agents: Blankenship, Dean, Phillips, and Dotson. They got a round 3 pick, that's 98. They got a round 4 pick, that's 137. They got a round 5 pick, that's 178, and round 6 pick, that's 215. They have 9 picks, Bobby, in the 2026 draft. That's a lot of picks.
A lot of picks. And Mike, since we've been together on this podcast, they did make a huge signing that I know you're going to love.
They did.
They brought back that punter,
Braden Mann. They had to.
Yeah, 4-year deal. He got a 4-year extension at like $14 million a year.
God bless him. A punter gets a 4-year extension.
14, I should say. Yeah, how about that?
4-year extension for a punter?
Yep. 4 years, 14, 7 guaranteed.
14-7 guaranteed.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
It's good to be a punter in the National Football League, isn't it?
You and I have been to many training camps, and to watch the guys beating each other up in that heat and then look over at that third field and see the snapper, the punter, and the field goal kicker, sign me up, man.
They're playing with a beach ball. I swear to God, I saw them play with a beach ball once.
Yeah.
Just kicking around a beach ball.
You got to do what you got to do.
All right, WBC shenanigans with the Rosa thinking they were in, partly after beating Mexico. The thing that annoyed me most about it is that after they beat Mexico, they decided it was appropriate to get blasted in the locker room after the game when they had a game the next night.
Yeah, and how are you not aware of that? Like you brought it up earlier with Anthony. How is somebody not in his ear saying, nah, there are some other things? Now, for example, I'm watching the game last night, and I'm, on the computer at the same time, and an alert comes up saying, well, if this game goes 13 innings, some things change. And I'm like, we're just learning about it now. How do the coaches not know about all these things?
Yeah. The tiebreak was fairly simple. Italy had to win last night, which they did. Or if they didn't win, Mexico had to win by scoring more than 6 runs.
Right.
And early on in the game, Italy was up 6-0, so that took it right out. Didn't matter if Mexico came back to win; they were still going to get that slot. But this sets up, Bobby. It sets up the quarterfinals here. Puerto Rico versus Italy. I'm thinking the Azzurri might have met their match here finally.
I like your hometown boys, Mike. I'm going with the Italians.
You are?
Well, they're riding that wave. Are you kidding me? This is like Team USA in hockey in 1980. They're just there's not, you can't stop them. Yeah, the
Mano, and they're going to face some good pitching with the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, pitching, schmitching. It doesn't matter. The Italians are on a roll. Forget about it.
So that's 6:30 Friday game, Korea versus Dominican in Miami, and then the USA versus Canada at 8 p.m. in Houston. You like the Americans to win that game?
I guess, but it's concerning with all these side little things going on. Skubal not being there. He rests some regulars in Witt and Harper last night, not knowing that it was a key game. Harper's not swinging the bat all that well anyway.
No, he's not.
Yeah, but Bobby Witt, you sat? Like, I know
you said this guys. He said, DeRosa said, well, yeah, we stayed up late last night having a couple in the locker room afterwards. Everybody's in the middle of the locker room, and a lot of guys are dragging today. And I'm going, what's wrong with these guys? Like, one beer limit.
And first of all, who admits that?
Who admits
that? Never. Like, yeah, I'm ready to play tomorrow. I don't care if you're out till 4 in the morning.
Yeah, that's stunning. And you can't
you're ready to play, even if you're not. That's
keep those guys out of the lineup, D-Row. Come on, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't see them winning this thing, Mike.
What's that?
I don't see them winning this thing.
You don't see the U.S. winning it?
I don't.
All right, let's play it out. The U.S. versus Canada, you got that as a win. That means they would play either Korea or the Dominican Republic. You got that as a dub?
Probably.
Okay, so they beat either Korea or the Dominican Republic to get into the finals. Now, in the other bracket, it's Puerto Rico versus Italy.
I
don't know. I think I like Puerto Rico in that game.
Okay.
I think Italy's magic's going to run out.
Now, go ahead. Say the big name. Say the big name.
Venezuela versus Japan is
that Japan team. Watch out.
You like Japan, huh?
Otani's hitting over 500. He's got a couple of home runs.
All right, so you got Italy versus Japan.
Yeah.
And Dominicans versus the United States.
U.S. could lose to the Dominicans.
Get to the finals.
I'll have them get to the final.
They could lose to the Dominicans, you're saying?
They could. They're, you know how it is in sports, Mike, especially in these. It's 7 total games that they're going to play if they get to the final. 7 games. They have built no kind of outside juice, it seems like. Instead, it's kind of getting swallowed into a hole when your manager doesn't even know that you have to win a game. I don't know if you can overcome those things in like a 10-day, 7-game span. I don't see the USA winning this thing.
Let's bring a baseball man in here. Mike Warren, who does the Trenton Thunder games. Let's bring him in. He's our producer for today's show. Mike, you pop in here. I want to get your spin on this WBC situation. You're a baseball man.
I think it's crazy that I loved all the points you made earlier, like how nobody is able to bring up that information to D-Row from the time he makes his on-air appearance to the time he's at the ballpark with the guys. I mean, just from being in this industry enough, covering baseball, but being in the media industry, there's certain things, like Bob said, you just don't say that. You don't admit it. The 93 Phillies weren't bragging about hanging out in the locker room, drinking Budweiser and burning heaters. They weren't bragging about that. They were just doing it.
They were.
I was going to say, you weren't around that night, but trust me.
They brought it up every time they asked them.
But again, like, there's certain things you don't need to talk about. And you should know, as a manager. And I think this goes deeper into the ties of USA Baseball. It's very political. If you're in with USA Baseball at a young age, you tend to stay around with it for a long majority of your life. I see that in the draft league, even with the Trenton Thunder. So yeah, like this is bad. And there's some people that we don't know the names of that make the decisions for this staff that should be held accountable for this as well, because you got a lot of good names on this USA staff, a lot of guys that people remember, like Matt Holliday and Andy Pettit. It's not all on Mark DeRosa. It's not. And there's other people that made this staff and brought these people together, and they need to be held accountable as well, because it's not just the manager that didn't know the rules. It's the USA team as a whole. The infrastructure is a little bit shambled. So you got to figure that out pretty quickly. I don't know where they go from here. I don't know if they're able to kind of put this distraction behind them and, hey, we're in now, reset, let's play. Baseball's a weird game like that. It can stick with you mentally, or you can flush it really quickly and you can come out and make something happen in a short amount of time. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not a good precedent going into this playoff to know, like, all right, we just got in. Like, you look at the bracket now, all Team USA has to do is just not mess it up, and they are going to go to the championship. They, like, just perform. Just do what you're supposed to do.
Wow, you think
you will play in the last game.
They'll beat Canada and the Dominican Republic?
I firmly believe that they have the better pitching when you look at the Dominican Republic versus USA. And if the guys are going to show up, Tarek Skubal, don't get me on that rant yet, because I don't want a guy like Tarek Skubal. If he's going to sacrifice, I get what he's got on the line, but he made his decision. You don't get to come back. You're gone. Go to the Tigers and do that. Paul Skeens being here, doing what he's doing, you love to see that. You want to see other guys step up. You know, it's not just Paul Skeens. There are other guys on this roster
Mike,
that can do it.
I would take Tarek Skubal back in a second. I don't care what he's doing.
I wouldn't. He bailed on his team. He made his decision.
Stop it. Come on.
He bailed on his team.
That's funny. Mike Warren, I would have a tendency to side with you. But after what DeRosa did and all the mistakes he made, who am I to set a precedent of, no, we don't want you back? You don't even know what the hell's going on as far as
coming back, bro.
But the only reason he wants to come back, is because Clay Holmes outperformed him. That's the only reason he wants to come back.
I don't care what it is. I got to be honest with you. He's the second best or first best pitcher in the game right now.
It's fair.
I need him to buckle this down. I don't care that he went back to camp. Bring him back.
I get that. I want the guys there that are fully bought in, and I didn't get that from Skubal. I think that obviously, and I'm not in that position to make that choice either. Like, if you have a big contract coming up and you know that you're going to be the face of this next free agency market, yeah, you got to make some decisions that are going to ruffle some feathers, like myself, of some fans of USA baseball and who want to see them win at the highest level. But again, you know, he's got to make his choices. I get it. But the guys that are there, you can win with them.
The only way the USA is going to win is if Clayton Kershaw does something heroic, comes in and strikes out the sides with the bases loaded or something like that. That's the only way.
I'm still waiting to see Mason Miller have his moment. Yeah. You know, like when is he going to be tasked with 6 outs? Because that's what he's able to do with his stuff, with his longevity and the change of speed and the high velocity. He's the guy where you go, okay, you're in the 8th and you're in the 9th too. Go get us 6 outs. We'll see that. I'm guessing against the Dominican Republic.
Wow. All right, brother.
Appreciate you guys.
I love Mike Warren's perspective on it. You got to be all in. Team. This is such a mercenary sport. They pick these guys mercenary. Like, they picked every good player at every position. No, it wasn't about a team. It's about stacking your best players you can on your team.
Sure. And come on, like if they went to Bryce Harper and said, you know what, Paul Goldschmidt's a little bit hotter than you right now. You don't think Bryce Harper would be like, okay, if you're not going to use me, I'm out of here. Maybe not. But now,
Paul Goldschmidt stinks.
Yeah.
What is he doing on this team?
Bryce needed a backup, and that's, figure go after the old guy.
There's not a better first baseman than Paul Goldschmidt. He's hit like 220 the last 3 years.
Yeah, I don't know what the thinking was there, but.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back, Bobby. I want to get your Sixers take. And also, we're going to talk about the Bamba Adebayo going for 83. Was it a sham or not? It's the On Pattison podcast with Mike Missinelli. Bob Cooney sitting in today. Back after this.
At Penn Community Bank, we're your financial partner for all of life's moments. Our checking accounts are designed with you in mind, providing convenient access and 5-star mobile and online banking services to help you achieve your goals. Right now, you can earn a $350 cash bonus for opening a qualifying new checking account with direct deposits in the first 60 days. Visit PennCommunityBank.com/cash bonus to learn more. Penn Community Bank, here we grow. Offer terms and conditions apply. Limited time offers subject to change. As for full details, member FDIC. At Penn.
Hi, Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Bring your party to Chicky and Pete's. We can handle groups of all sizes at our locations across the Delaware Valley. Big parties, small parties, company parties, family parties, get-togethers with friends. Order off the menu or our special catering options. We can do it all, including coming to your home or office or special Play 2 party packages at our South Philly location. Book your party today. Hurry, the space is limited. Visit chickyandpete's.com for details. Chicky and Pete's is official caterer of the Philadelphia Eagles Touchdown Club and a proud partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hi.
All right, we're back on Pattison Podcast with Mike Missinelli, Bob Cooney today. Bob, let's talk about your Sixers. They're running in guys I've never heard of. I don't even know where they're coming from, to be honest with you. I look on the floor, I see this new guy here, this new guy over here. What in the hell is going on with this team?
It's the strangeness, the likes I've never seen. And Mike, I covered the Sixers through the whole process. So this is quite strange. I mean, you have the injuries that you have and the suspension that you have. And then it's announced on Tuesday night that Tyrese Maxey, who has a sprained pinky, is out for 3 weeks because there's ligament damage or tendon damage in there. Okay, so you go out and you play the game. A guy like Kelly Oubre goes out and gets you 30 points, 12 rebounds. We talked to him after the game. He's got his 2 kids on his lap. He's talking, good mood, everything like that. It's announced the next day that he has a ligament damage in his left elbow, shooting elbow, and he's out for 2 weeks. He seemed kind of odd. Didn't notice a play at all where he was hurting. He was out on the court till the end of the game. Then this morning, checking injury report as we do all the time when they play, Adem Bona, who's their starting center, is out with back spasms. Their backup center, Andre Drummond, was put on the report as questionable now with back spasms. I never questioned, Mike, I took over the Sixers beat from a guy named Phil Jasner, who's a Hall of Famer, and one of the things he said to me was never judge a player about his injuries. So I try not to do that, and I knew that also. But what are they doing here? Like, really? Is something going on more than these injuries are just coming all at once and it's just bad luck? I would assume that's what it is, but it seems kind of strange. I don't even know how to put it.
Yeah, it's very strange, especially the guys that they're bringing in there. I mean, really, they're bringing in guys that aren't NBA players, just try to fill a gap here.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with them. But anyway, that Kelly Oubre injury is interesting because that's usually a pitcher's injury. That lateral ligament, that's a Tommy John's type of situation. Yeah,
it's very strange. And like I said, we saw nothing of it. If that happens, and from baseball, if that happens, there's a weakness in that arm. There's certain things that really prohibit you from using that arm fully. Noticed nothing on Tuesday night. We've never heard that he had a lingering problem with it before. The players you're seeing on the court now, Mike, that you're saying you don't recognize, which is true, those are the guys you were trying to have an audition for to be like backups to your normal starters once the playoffs come. Yeah. Like Quentin Grimes is going to be your guy coming off the bench to score some points. Who's your backup 4 and who's your backup 3? That's who they were auditioning. And I don't know if they even have anybody on this team that would be legitimate backups to Paul George or Kelly Oubre or guys like that.
Things are really falling apart at this stage of the season now.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen when they get those guys back. But 49065 says Sixers should tank the remainder of the season and hope for the best possible pick. Whether or not they will is another story. Well, they're not going to tank.
No, they're not. And that pick is – I have to look all this up because I just started back with them a couple weeks ago. I have to look at the pick. Even if they tank, I think it's somebody else's pick, so it wouldn't really matter. And there's protection stuff in there. So I have to get all that together. But, no, it's not as easy as just tanking and getting a best pick right now.
All right, so kind of a couple of the last things we want to talk about. Bam Adebayo going for 83. When I saw that, my eyes nearly popped out of my head because he's not a scorer.
No.
And I'm going, how could a non-scorer go for 83? How was that possible?
Some guys have nights, but not 83-point nights. Like we saw Campaign have a night for the Sixers the same night, 9 for 10 from the floor, 8 for 8 from 3-point range. Like that's a night, but he only had 32 points. I don't know. How does a guy in the NBA get to the line 43 times?
Again, here's his numbers. He had 31 in the first quarter, 43 by halftime, 62 by the end of the third quarter. He finished 20 for 43 from the field, 36 for 43 from the foul line, and he made 7 threes, 7 for 22. And at the end, the game turned into a sham because they were feeding him. He played 42 minutes, and they were force feeding him the ball so he can get those 83 to pass Kobe Bryant's 81. Violation or not?
I don't know how to feel about this because the guy that was calling the shots is one of the guys probably that I most respect as a head coach in the NBA, and that's Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah.
If he felt the need to hey, something weird's going on here, let's go for it, and he doesn't feel like it's hurting the game, and he's trying to get a player into the record books and all that, part of me says, well, okay, you're telling the other team, well, then stop him. Don't let him score. What do you want me to do?
He fouled him 43 times.
Yeah, I know, and it's crazy. And I had people texting me about what are these referees doing? Well, yeah, it's an odd game. You're trying to ref the best you can, and you don't want to not call fouls because you don't want to be the reason this guy doesn't do what he's doing. It kind of comes back, and you and I are of the same kind of age group of, well, if you didn't want it to happen, stop him. Don't let him score 83.
Yeah, but again, it was the Wizards.
I hear you. I know. Could you imagine being on a floor and letting a guy go off on you like that?
Especially him. A guy can't really not a scorer. Right? No. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me.
What Sam Adebayo and Kobe Bryant? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, it goes Wilt, Bam, and then Kobe. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Chase Utley's going on the Wall of Fame this year. He'll be there August 7th. For my money and for most people's money, he is the top 5 most popular athlete of all time in Philadelphia. Right?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Absolutely.
He's right up there with Brian Dawkins, and you can go down the list of whoever your popular athletes were. And our old buddy, Matt Cord, the public address announcer for the Philadelphia 76ers. And now, number 3, got Dick Flick from Georgetown, Iverson. Matt Cord is stepping away. What do you think of that?
Yeah, crazy. And I've been lucky to be around Matt an awful lot. I've become very good friends with him. He's become friends with my family. I saw him announce it, and I was at a place where I sent out a text. It really did make me sad, Mike. I was like, oh, man. Here comes another one of the voices that we, not grew up with, but that we've been around for our lives. And as I wrote in a story on Pattison was, we are so lucky with the announcers, with the play-by-play people that we've had throughout the years. Matt's right up there with them. And his joy and his excitedness when he's announcing a game, it's kind of unparalleled throughout the league. So it's a shame that we're losing him, but glad that it's on his own call. Glad that it's what he wants to do now after 28 years. And I've talked to him a couple times since he made the announcement, and he's in a great place. So
good for him. I'm glad that he wants to step away with a smile on his face.
Yeah.
A couple of things I did not like about Matt, and I told him this all the time. We used to cross paths at the radio station all the time. I didn't like when he denigrated the other team's basket. Like somebody would make a basket for the other team. Kevin Durant. I didn't like that. I thought it made us look very small.
How about that? Yeah, I did. You're talking to a guy who could watch a full basketball game and not know what color uniforms the two teams were wearing. I can remember every play. So that kind of stuff, the background stuff, doesn't really, for some reason, I'm always like XOXOXO.
James Harden.
Yeah, so I didn't notice that all that much. I know what you're saying. And the way he announces the team now, the opposing team, it's just like guard Mike Missinelli, guard Bob Cooney, center, and it's just like, boom, that's it.
Yeah, a little small.
Yeah, you don't like that, huh?
No, I didn't like it very much. And I tried to give Matt a tip once. I said, when Isaiah Joe scores, you should say, Cup of Joe. What do you think? That would have worked?
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Huh?
Yeah.
He never did it.
Huh. I don't think Matt's the type that likes to take suggestions. I think he likes to come up with them on his own.
All right, I got it. All right, Bobby, anything we forget today?
I think we probably hit on just about everything, Michael. Little golf action. You were talking about all the seasons that are coming up. You got TPC this weekend. That's exciting for all you golf fans. Masters right around the corner. So I know you love golf, play golf.
Oh, I watched that last week, that playoff.
So did I. Yep. You got TPC on today. I'm going to go catch
Daniel
some of that.
Berger. I like Daniel Berger a lot. He blew that.
Yes, he did. Oh, no question he blew that. Yeah. Bhatia is 23 years old.
Yeah, he's youngin'.
Well, it's funny. Half the announcers call him Bhatia and the other half call him Bacha. I wish they would just get together and decide on something.
Yeah, well. Yeah. Bacha, Bhatia. I think it's
Batia.
Whatever. I think it's Batia, actually.
Yeah, okay. See, half of them are wrong and half of them are you.
All right, man. Listen, great being with you for an hour, and we'll have to run this back down the road, huh?
Absolutely, buddy. I'm here whenever you need me.
Thanks, everybody, for listening and watching. Again, you can get this podcast on all podcast networks, including Amazon and Spotify and Apple and everything. So thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for all you texters who played along with us. And have a great rest of the day. It's snowing out there. It doesn't look like it's sticking, but get that snowblower revved up in case it does. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. We'll talk to you. Bye-bye.